Good morning, gang. Happy Monday morning. All right, off to another work week, and here we go. Work week, yeah, this is going to be a good one because maybe we're going to have something done, at least started, in the spectrum of foreign affairs. We're going to get Marco Rubio's first big test today. Hasn't got a whole lot of coverage in the United States. Hard to find stuff. CNN actually had an article, I was shocked, talking about it, but nothing on any of the other media outlets whatsoever. About a meeting that is supposed to take place today, headed by Marco Rubio for the United States, obviously our Secretary of State, and Sergei Lavrov, who is the foreign minister Minister of Foreign Affairs for Russia. Okay, meeting in Saudi Arabia to discuss a peace plan for Ukraine. Okay. Remember, this was something Trump campaigned on, that it's going to bring peace to Eastern Europe. I want to give you this. You have a whole lot of people bitching about this meeting. Zelensky comes up and says he's not going to, nothing that's decided between the U.S. and Russia matters to him whatsoever. He's not going to listen. Okay. You have most of Europe pissed off. Well, by most of Europe, I mean the states, the countries that want to go socialist. Emmanuel Macron called an emergency meeting because, oh my God, Trump is going to try to do something to stop this war. Now I want you to think about this for a second. In the entire time between Russia invading Ukraine and Joe Biden getting kicked out of the White House, Joe Biden talked to Vladimir Putin exactly 0 times. Never once. Okay. If you have an argument with somebody, if you have a fight with somebody, how do you resolve it? Do you talk to a whole bunch of people that are on your side? Or do you talk to the person you have the disagreement with? I mean, simply put, there's the biggest difference between the Trump administration and the Biden administration. The Trump administration is going to talk to the Russians, the ones that we have a disagreement with, all right? And not even us, the ones that Ukraine has a disagreement with. We're just sick of people being sent to the meat grinder and sick of money being spent or stolen or whatever, weapons being smuggled, and we need to put an end to this. It's funny that you hear the Europeans bitch, all right? But it's not that funny that you hear the Americans bitch. We're fed up with this. The most recent polling of the American public, okay, not of Lindsey Graham, all right, of you and me, shows that only 41% of Americans support arming Ukraine, and only 37% of Americans support giving them any financial assistance. We're sick of it. Nearly 2/3 of the American population is saying, no more. We're done. Okay? You had a statement put out by the Rothschilds over the weekend that Trump's nationalism is going to destroy globalism forever. Good. That's what I voted for. As cold as this is going to sound, I don't care about the people in Ukraine. I don't care about the people in Russia. I don't care about the starving kids in Africa. I care about the people in the United States. I care about the starving kids in Philadelphia. That's what I care about. That's where my money needs to be spent. not in some godforsaken place halfway across the world that up until 2 years ago, most people couldn't even find on a map or couldn't even pronounce it right because they kept calling it the Ukraine. No, it's just Ukraine, okay? It's not the. But now all of a sudden, this has got to be the big boogeyman of foreign policy that everybody's got to take care of. And we're stuck in the middle of it. Here's one you're not going to find in the U.S. press at all, okay? Keir Starmer, the moron prime minister. I mean, this guy is the biggest idiot to walk the face of the earth, okay? I mean, this is a guy that makes Jasmine Crockett and AOC combined look like Albert Einstein. Starmer's got to be the dumbest politician in the history of man, okay? Just giving you this. He came out yesterday, this is reported by the Telegraph. I'll try to put the link in, but there's a paywall on it. Maybe you can see it for free. That he's ready and willing to put British troops in Ukraine. Did you hear me? He's ready and willing to put British troops in Ukraine, which basically means he's trying to expand the war. Now, I'm not any sort of NATO scholar or anything like that. I don't think that if British troops were attacked in Ukraine by Russian troops, that would trigger Article 5, that would force us into the war, because I believe the way it's written, again, don't quote me, is that if a NATO nation is attacked, not if troops are attacked. If Starmer's going to send people to Ukraine, that's on his own ass. I'd love to see who he's going to send. Maybe he could take some of all his recent arrivals and turn them into soldiers to fight for the crown. There'd be an idea. But here's the catch with all of that, how that's a hollow promise, or that's him trying to goad other European countries or the United States into sending troops. I'm going to give you this. The British military today has 73,000 troops. That's it. It is the lowest amount of people in the military since the Napoleonic era. All right? Since Napoleon was running through France. They have the smallest military since. Now I'm going to give you the next part. He's ready and willing to put troops in. I've told you guys this many times. Roughly 10% of the military is combat troops. That pretty much goes for any country, right? Because you've still got cooks and clerks and supply and everybody like that. The combat troops. So if they've got 73,000 people in their military and 10% is combat, that means they've got 7,300 combat troops in Great Britain. That's a half a division. That's it, okay? So what do you think they're trying to do? Well, they want to get France and Germany and Poland and everybody to start doing it, to put troops in too, to push the Russians back. Have you really heard about anything that's going on in Ukraine in the last 6 months? No, it's pretty much at a standstill. Sure, they're still fighting, there's still skirmishes, but it's nothing like it was a year or so ago. We're having drone attacks. You know, we had the fake attack on Chernobyl the other day that Ukraine came out and said that it was Russia using a drone, and more evidence came out and showing that it was Ukraine that actually did it, and they're trying to blame the Russians. It's just real interesting that here we go into what's very close to being a world war. And you're seeing the globalists, the ones who want us to all come together, pushing for war. But the nationalists, the ones that want to pull us all apart and say, okay, take care of yourselves, they're the ones that are trying to stop it. Does that make any sense? You know, you'd think the nationalists would be the one, I'm trying to make a bigger country, more territory for me to rule. Nope. The globalists, the ones who want us all to live in kumbaya together, are the ones that want to beat the crap out of each other and kill each other. No, not exactly what you call a brilliant idea. This is the problem. And this is where Trump may save the world by doing what he's doing. By talking to the enemy and trying to end this fiasco before it turns into a scenario where we are sending troops. I mean, remember, everything else, every other red line, we're only going to send rifles. Then we're only going to send tanks. Then we're only going to send planes. And it just keeps going until eventually then we're only going to send troops. And at that point, that's when the American public is going to go 37% support financially, 41% support arming them. How many support sending our sons and daughters, grandsons and granddaughters into combat? I bet that's a lot less than 37%. But we have a president and a cabinet who's trying to end this war, not get rich off this war. Pay close attention to Congress, both houses, as to who is supporting this trip to Russia and who's fighting against it. The ones who are arguing, are saying this is a bad idea that Marco Rubio and Sergei Lavrov talked today, they're the ones that are trying to destroy the country, trying to destroy the world. They're the enemy of the state, the enemy on our own soil, the ones who are trying to get us involved in what would turn out to be a nuclear war. And they're pushing for it. We need to end this crap. This is the first right step that has been taken in 3 years to get this ended, to open a dialogue. If nothing else happens, my personal opinion, and Trump should play this like he did before, bail out of NATO. We're out. We're done. You guys want to fight the Russians? You're on your own. No money, no troops, no weapons, no ammunition, nothing. You want to walk into the lion's den? You look like a piece of steak. You'll get chopped up like crazy. Because remember, Germany doesn't have enough ammunition to defend their country for one day. And the Russians, during Joe Biden's tenure, were cozying up to the North Koreans and the Chinese. I think they'll be okay. The best way to end this is diplomacy, not with idiots like Lindsey Graham or Keir Starmer or any of the other Democrats that are saying, we need to go to war. We need to keep this fighting going. No, we don't. We need to end it. And I pray to God they make progress today. Pinball out.